Parking mode off.
He admitted passing Israel military secrets and was sentenced to life in prison. Successive US administrations rejected Israeli appeals to grant him clemency. Pollard was freed on bail in 2015, but his parole restrictions were only lifted last month.
Iran says it will pay $150,000 to the families of each of the passengers who died when it accidentally shot down a Ukrainian airliner. The Iranian government's Office for Legal Affairs said the sum was in line with international norms. The plane was mistakenly downed by an air defense unit as it took off from Tehran at a time of high tension between Iranian and US forces nearly a year ago. A prominent human rights lawyer in Uganda has been granted bail by the High Court a week after being arrested on money laundering charges. The case against Nicholas Opio, who leads a human rights organisation called Chapter 4, is widely seen as an attempt to intimidate activists ahead of next month's elections. BBC News.
Hello, welcome to Outlook and the final day of our 2020 BBC Inspirations Awards, and we are celebrating in style. Hello, I'm Jo Fitchen, and this is Jorge Castillo and the Fandango Fusion Fronteriza. Thank you so much. We will be hearing a lot more from Jorge and the band over the next hour. They usually perform the Fandango at the controversial wall that marks the US-Mexico border, but today they are joining us via video from Tijuana. In fact, all our guests today are joining us from Mexico as we reveal the final two winners of this year's Inspirations Awards. Later on, we're going to hear from a man who's braved poachers and pirates to save the world's most endangered marine mammal. Spoiler alert, it's a kind of porpoise. But we're heading right now to Yucatan. 2 years ago, it became the first Mexican state to criminalize revenge porn, when someone shares intimate photos or footage of another person without their consent. And it was all down to Ana Bacadano. She told her story last year to Outlook's Arcia Fuchs. It begins when she was 16 years old in high school and dating a boy of the same age, happily, initially.
We were really close. I mean, we had like pool parties and birthday parties, and I've known him since we were kids. And somehow we understood each other and we gave support to each other, and it was a pretty relationship in that way.
Okay, so you'd known this guy forever. You'd been dating for a few months when you decided to send him a pretty intimate photo of yourself. What sort of photo are we talking about here? I mean, could you see your face in it?
Yes, it was a nude selfie from the waist up. It is very clear in that photo that it is me.
And he'd also sent you one of himself. You both agreed to delete the pictures. What did you do with the photo he sent you?
I remember deleting it that same day because that was my promise to him, and he said he had done the same.
Did you believe him when he said that?
Yes, he was so good at making me feel loved and cared for.
So a few months down the line, as high school relationships do, your relationship came to an end. Did you immediately start to worry?
He was so angry and so hurt. I remember thinking, like, well, maybe he didn't delete the photo. I'm not sure. That's when I decided to call him and ask him directly And his reaction was he stayed silent and hung up the phone. I think I've never experienced that much fear in my life because I started wondering what would happen if he decided to share the photo, and my family was at the time very conservative. I just assumed they would kick me out. I assumed my friends wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore. I thought my school would also kick me out. I didn't tell anyone at the time. I was going through this alone.
To step back a moment, at this point, had anybody else actually seen the photo? Did anybody else know about it?
No, it was all in my head at the time. No one had seen the photo.
And then there came a point when you realized that some other people had actually seen this photo. What happened?
It was the day after my high school graduation that a friend said, "Who did you send a naked photo of yourself to?" And I told him, and he said, well, there were some people sharing it. I remembered feeling that all of my fears were about to come true. So I told my friends, and they were really supportive, and I started feeling good again.
And it was in 2013 that you started university. You were moving on with your life. What were those early days in university like for you?
Oh, I really loved it. It was a big university with a lot of people I didn't know. And I remember wanting to be in everything. I wanted to meet all these new people. I was in student groups and I was going to every party, and I loved my school.
So, in your second semester, when you really thought you'd left it all behind, the photo managed to catch up with you. How did it rear its head again in your life?
A friend came up to me and she said that a girl that I went to school with shared the photo, and now everyone has it on their phones and everyone is talking about it. Well, that was brutal. I panicked. I mean, I'm just remembering this and I panic now.
How bad did things get for you?
Going to college became hell. It felt like the 2,000 people there had seen the photo. It felt like everyone wanted me to know that they have seen it. A lot of people came to me to tell me about the photo, to let me know that it was being shared. I really loved that first friend who told me, because I know that it came from her heart. But at the 50th people that comes to you and tells you about the photo, it just becomes violent and it's invasive. And if I walked into the cafeteria, they would stay silent, they would whisper things, they would write things on the bathroom walls, on the classroom table. They would write like dirty comments about the photo and about me and how they wanted to see more.
About a year after the photo first started circulating at your university, you decided to tell your mother about it. What was her reaction?
After her initial shock, she was really caring, and she asked me how I felt and how could she help me and support me, and I think that's exactly what I needed.
Understandably, all of this stress was taking a toll. So you decided to take a break, go on vacation to a really remote island.
Yes, because I thought the beach would help. I thought being with my friends on a remote island would help me feel better, and I think it was working. I was chilling, but my friends and we were having dinner one day, and there was some people at dinner who came up to me and said, "Oh my god, you're the girl in the photo. My friend just sent it to me." Being in complete shock, I didn't know what to say. I looked at my friends and they were as shocked as I was. I felt helpless, and eventually, because he wouldn't leave, I had to say, "Yes, I am the girl in the photo," and he just laughed and went away.
There was literally no escape from this photo, but eventually Anna realized that since the picture wasn't going to go anywhere anytime soon, she'd have to change her approach to it. She'd have to find a way to stop letting it affect her. So she devised a new strategy.
I decided to be the one who tells my story. Before, when people would come up to me and say, "Hey Anna, your photo is being shared, you're probably feeling like this," I was so uncomfortable in that situation. But when I started, the first time I did it, I hadn't seen a friend for at least 2 months. We went out for coffee, and the first thing I said to him was, "Hey, I don't know if you've seen it, but people are sharing a naked photo of myself, and at first I felt like this, but now I feel like this," and I realized that it is not my fault. He was so comfortable. He was pretty much sweating at the time because he didn't know how to react, because of course I've seen the photo and I could see it in his eyes. He just wasn't expecting me to be the one to tell the story, and I felt so powerful and so happy that I got the fever for it. The fear that that story represented to me became smaller every time I told it.
So you started speaking quite openly about your experiences. You started talking to newspapers, you started giving talks at schools, and you decided to use your face and your name. Was that a difficult decision?
It was difficult, but I realized that if I was going to talk about this and if I had the privilege to be heard, I had to do it with a lot of responsibility. And the first one was to not put shame where it doesn't belong. People were really surprised that someone was speaking openly about it, and the reaction was really good. So I started doing it more often, and I think I got to understand the situation a little better. I got to know a lot of people who were going through this, a lot of girls, and they would all tell me their stories because they didn't have anyone to help them. They would come up to me and tell me that they had tried to press charges against their aggressors, and the authorities said, "No, that is not a crime, that is not a felony, that is nothing."
She'd been working with a local government authority to raise awareness about revenge porn. And when she suggested writing a bill that would make revenge porn a crime in the state of Yucatan, they took her up on it. She teamed up with a lawyer, and they got to work.
I had no clue of how the law worked. I didn't have any political contacts. I didn't have any huge economic resource to move my initiative or to promote it. It was really just about finding like allies everywhere. I had to repeat myself a lot. I had to make people fall in love with the importance of this project.
You had to give speeches in front of the legislature.
Yes!
Was that quite intimidating for you?
I was shaking, but I am always shaking before I do anything work related because it is such a thrill and such a big job.
And then in May 2018, the hard work paid off. Her bill got voted into law. Sharing private photos without consent would soon be illegal in her state. Anna was in Congress to see the vote as it happened.
It was really emotional, so when they all voted and it was all green dots on the screen, I started crying and I couldn't stop crying, and it was awful because there were a lot of newspaper people that were taking photos of me ugly crying, but I felt like I was on cloud nine because I never thought that this was going to be possible. So when it finally happened, I think I really couldn't believe it.
On New Year's 2019, you took a pretty bold decision. You posted the photo yourself on your social media platforms. Why did you decide to do that?
I think the photo, it means something different to me now, and I want people to see that there was a point in my life when I wanted to kill myself so people wouldn't see it. To me it was worth more than my own life. So I think it's a very powerful message, especially to young girls and boys. So I decided to post a photo, and people reacted beautifully, and a lot of girls who were going through the same thing I was found comfort on that. And I think we need to show that it's not a big deal if someone sees you naked. It's not a life-defining moment. I think the defining moment is when you realize that you are stronger and that you can survive this.
That was Anna Bakadano speaking to Outlook last year, and she joins us now on a video call from Yucatan. Hello Anna, lovely to see you, and congratulations on two fronts, I think, both on being a BBC Inspirations Award winner, but also for recently completing your psychology degree. That must feel great.
Yeah, I am very excited for everything, for the psychology degree and for being here with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's great to have you here, and I can see you're not alone. Could you please introduce us to the person you're with?
This is my mom. Her name is Eugenia Celorio, and she has been with me the whole time.
Yeah, well, hello, Eugenia. Very nice to meet you too. And as Anna says, she talked about you in her interview and said what a strength you have been to her. What is she to you?
Well, I always say she's giant. She's an example for being upfront, to say what you think, to say what you need to be heard, and not to wait for others to change their perspectives if you don't do anything.
Does she get her resilience and her composure from you?
Yeah.
Do you agree, Anna? Do you take after your mother?
Yeah, in so many ways I think my mom has taught me to be myself in spite of adversities, and I think it makes a huge difference to have someone who loves you unconditionally, who thinks you are amazing no matter what. I think my mom has taught me that, and that has been the foundation of everything I am.
What's the latest now on the law against revenge porn in Mexico? Have other states criminalized it, followed Yucatan's lead and your lead?
Yeah, it was like a snowball effect. Once Yucatan approved the law, many other states approved it after, and we have a lot to do in so many ways, because even if now it's criminalized, the action of sharing someone's intimate content without their consent, I think it's more a social issue that needs a lot of education, and we are moving forward, but we have a long way to go.
Do you get the sense that real change is happening though? Do people talk to you about the impact that your campaign has had on them and their lives?
Absolutely, and I think that's the most beautiful thing of everything that has happened, because I have heard of girls who are 13, 14 say, like, I know my rights, I know that I should not be ashamed if someone tries to use my sexuality against me, and to me hearing that, it's a huge difference.
It sounded like last time you spoke to Outlook that you had really grown in confidence yourself throughout that period, that you found the strength in yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to do things my way. And that maybe also you discovered during that time your friends.
My friends here in Yucatan are amazing people that I learn from every day.
We have one of your oldest friends actually, who has been listening across this whole conversation, and maybe she could turn her video on now so that Anna can see you. Would you like to introduce us?
I'm Alba.
How long have you known Anna, Alba?
Yeah, so me and Anna, we've been friends for 20 years.
So you must have been friends in kindergarten then?
Yeah,
What kind of friendship do you have?
the best friendship you can ask for, pretty much. She's been my friend through like thick and thin. To me, she's the one friend you want to call when you have like great news to tell, but also when you feel like your world is falling apart, because she's the one who will help you fix it without judgment of any kind. I'm like beyond proud of all the work she's done.
We heard Anna's mum, Eugenia, saying that Anna has taught her things about life. Has she taught you things as well?
Yeah, like she really taught me the true meaning of defining yourself. And once you do, like there's nothing anyone can like do against you, you know, like when you have that strength and like you said, that voice, when you find it.
You've gone very quiet, Anna.
I'm crying silently. I am so moved, so excited to see Alba, and she has truly been there for all my life. Like since we were 6 years old, we've been friends, and she has been there for everything. It's very exciting to see her. Thank you so much for inviting her.
Well, I know she wanted to be with you today. Huge congratulations again. We are delighted to have you as a BBC Inspirations winner. Please don't go away because we haven't quite finished with you yet. But we're going to have some more music. Jorge Castillo and Fandango Fusion Fronteriza are joining us from Tijuana by the US border.
Yes, here we are.
Great.
Here we are.
Hey Jorge, so for years now, you've been performing fandangos by the wall that separates Mexico from the United States. A couple of questions. Can you tell us A, what a fandango is, and B, why you play at the border?
Very happy to be here today for all of us. I cannot express how much honor I have to be here. And fandango is a traditional music from Veracruz, and it's a musical celebration that brings community together. Every year at the border we get together by the fence that divides San Diego and Tijuana. And we mainly do that because we're against borders. We believe in unity. We believe that music can cross any borders, and we have the right to be free.
I can see all the band members behind you. Could you just quickly tell us who everybody is and what they're playing?
Absolutely, absolutely. And on my right hand, I have Emiliano Lopez, who plays the clarinet. Then we have Pedro Chavez playing leona, which is the bass.
Everybody's waving.
And then we have Antonio Vera, who plays the jarana. And my name is Jorge Castillo, and I'm playing the requinto, who is the instrument that plays the melody in son jarocho.
Nice to meet you all. You're going to play a song now that you've picked especially for Anna. What should we know about it?
Okay, I picked a song called La Morena, and it's a beautiful song that represents Mexican and Latin American women. And we dedicate this to you with all our heart.
Thank you so much.
Con todo nuestro corazón para ti.
Thank you very much, Jorge Castillo and the Fandango Fusion Fronteriza.
Gracias. Gracias, de verdad. Muchísimas gracias.
De todo corazón, de parte de todos.
We are heading into the news now, but we have one more surprise for you, Anna, as our BBC Inspirations winner. Any idea what it might be?
Something that will make me cry. Okay.
Couldn't say. We'll find out. We'll be right back.
This is the BBC World Service.
looking at climate change.
A climate study endorsed by 11,000 scientists warns there will be untold human suffering.
The message is stark.
These aren't anyone's opinions or political views. This is the current best available science.
Climate change is affecting people across the world.
In Phoenix, it is hot all the time, during the day and during the night. This heat is not normal.
Port of Bangladesh has been affected by the floods. We have more than 15,000 people displaced.
We've got fires that are still burning, transforming landscapes, wiping out wildlife.
So how do we face these challenges?
Each week we'll talk to our journalists on the ground and hear how the crisis is unfolding right in front of their eyes.
And bring together leading experts to hear how we might make a better future.
Join Neil Roselle and Greer Jackson for The Climate Question, Monday at 9:20 GMT. Coming up, our final BBC Inspirations winner, Lorenzo Rojas Bracho, who's trying to save from extinction a porpoise called Vaquita, getting fishermen, politicians and students on board by introducing them to this tiny creature with its amusing sound.
And it sounds like a fart, and I could see the students, they didn't want to laugh, but I could see them, and I told them, it's okay, just laugh.
Laughter and tears after this. BBC News with Danielle Jawowiecka. The British Health Secretary Matt Hancock says he is aiming for 1 million inoculations a week as the government plans a mass rollout of coronavirus vaccines next week. The move comes after the medical regulator in Britain approved a second treatment for emergency use. The vaccine, developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca, is cheaper and easier to store than its rivals. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has called on Parliament to back his post-Brexit deal, saying it will allow the country to take control of its laws and national destiny. He was speaking at the start of a debate that's expected to secure parliamentary approval for the deal within a day. At least 5 people are reported to have been killed in an attack on the airport serving the Yemeni city of Aden, soon after a plane carrying the country's new government landed. An explosion took place as passengers were about to leave the aircraft. The cabinet ministers are all reported to be safe. Suspected Islamist militants have attacked 2 villages in northeast Mozambique, with reports that dozens of civilians were kidnapped. Mongiani and Olumbi villages are close to the site of a gas project for the multinational firm Total. The Argentine Senate has voted to legalize abortion up to the 14th week of pregnancy. Women's rights campaigners gathered outside the Congress erupted in jubilation when their victory became clear. A landslide in a snow-laden Norwegian valley has left several people trapped under the collapsed roofs of their houses. Police said some had managed to find relatives pleading for help. Aerial footage showed a slick of mud covering homes in Gjerdrum, northeast of Oslo. A former US Navy analyst who spent 30 years in jail for spying for Israel was flown to Tel Aviv and been welcomed on the tarmac by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Jonathan Pollard was given Israeli citizenship while serving his jail term. BBC News. Hello, I'm Jo Fidgen. Welcome back to Outlook and the final day of the 2020 BBC Inspirations Awards, helping us celebrate Jorge Castillo and the Fandango Fusion Fronteriza. We've been hearing the story of a remarkable young Mexican woman, Ana Bacadano, who refused to be cowed when an ex-boyfriend published a private nude photo of her, which went viral and led to a lot of harassment. Ana decided to own the problem when public persuaded her home state, Yucatan, to outlaw so-called revenge porn, and inspired many other women in the process. Ana and company are with us on a video link. Quick hellos from everyone. Ana first.
Hello.
Alba, Anna's friend who supported her throughout.
Hello.
And Anna's mother, Eugenia.
Hello.
So, Anna, we've actually been conspiring with your mum behind your back for some time about the ceremony today, and she has one last surprise for you. Eugenia, could you please get the special box?
Yes. What? That's such a beautiful box.
It's a blue box. It's got a big yellow ribbon tied all around it. Before you open it, Anna, I think we should maybe have a drum roll or some kind of fanfare, please, Jorge.
Is there anything you want to say to Anna as you hand her the final surprise?
I am always so excited about her being recognized. I want to share one experience I had last year. I went to a library shop and then I saw a book and I had to explain to the guy why I was crying, because what I saw was a book who says Mexicanos like me, no? Mexicans like me, and among many, many famous and giant personalities in Mexico, my daughter's name is here. Her story is here. This is my daughter, I said. So, this is my daughter.
Oh, Anna, I can see you're both in tears now, but why don't you open the box?
Oh my god.
Can you describe what's inside?
It's a planet. It's a planet?
The globe, yeah.
Yeah, and oh my god. It's the award. I think it's wow. It says Ana Bacano winner, Inspiration Awards 2020. Thank you so much. You made me cry the whole time.
Congratulations. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Eugenia Celorio, Alba Marti, and of course our winner, Anna Bacano. From Outlook, this is the BBC Inspirations Awards. So, we have one more winner to meet. His name is Lorenzo Rojas Bracho, but he also goes by another name, Mr. Vaquita. A vaquita is a type of porpoise and is the world's most endangered marine animal. It's possible there are now just 10 of them left in the world. Lorenzo is a marine biologist who's been trying to save them. It's dangerous work. He's come up against Mexican drug cartels and received death threats. In 2019, he told his story to Outlook's Clayton Kahn.
Beautiful animal. It looks like the panda. It has black patches around the eyes and lips. And it's dark gray on the dorsal part, and then it kind of fades into light gray and white.
That is the Mexican marine biologist Lorenzo Rojas Bracho. He's describing one of the smallest and rarest marine mammals in the world, known as the vaquita marina, which means little sea cow in Spanish.
Other fishermen told me they also called them an elf. Another name was ghost.
Originally, Lorenzo wanted to study the world's largest sea mammals, humpbacks and blue whales. But when a colleague beat him to research funding, Lorenzo shifted his attention to one of the smallest of porpoises, the vaquita.
When we started, everybody said vaquita is already extinct.
Those that believed that vaquita was still alive warned Lorenzo of the myriad of technical and emotional challenges, as well as dangers he was to face if he was to study and protect the animal.
A friend told me, Lorenzo, you should get into vaquita. This is going to burn you. It's a very difficult situation. He told me, Lorenzo, you don't want to be Mr. Vaquita.
Yet for better or for worse, Lorenzo would become Mr. Vaquita.
Nobody knew really what vaquita was, and so we started to make the world know about vaquita.
To educate the world about vaquita, Lorenzo first needed an accurate census of the population. In fact, he needed to actually see a vaquita alive. So in 1997, he organized a team, hired a boat, and launched an expedition in the upper sea of Cortez. After more than a week at sea, on the last day of the expedition, Lorenzo finally spotted the panda-like porpoise.
And it was so exciting to see finally this animal that I've seen the animal dead, DNA, photographs, but it was the first time I really saw the vaquita come out of the water. I still have it in my brain. So beautiful. The little face coming out of the water, though, and then finally, with watching it after so many attempts to see it, and it was like, wow, there it is. But it was fantastic.
Confirming that the vaquita was in fact alive and not a mystical ghost or elf, Lorenzo and his team placed a system of underwater microphones. The hydrophones record the clicks and high-frequency sounds the vaquitas make, and enabling Lorenzo to determine the population size, which in 1997 was around 600 animals. Lorenzo would also take these recordings to talks and classes to educate the public, and, well, to also use it as a kind of icebreaker.
The question, how does vaquita sound? And it sounds like a fart. It's like,
how does it sound again? Like, because that's really great for radio.
So it's like, and I could see the students, they didn't want to laugh, but I could see them, and I told them, it's okay, just laugh.
This is the actual sound of the vaquita. After years of monitoring these animals, Lorenzo realized a horrifying trend. The animal was dying off at an alarming rate.
And we knew all the time since then that there was illegal fishing for totuaba.
The totuaba is a type of endangered sea bass, and its swim bladder has become a high-ticket commodity in Chinese cuisine and has been deemed, without scientific proof, to be medicinal.
And our surprise was the prices. Fishermen could make from $1,000 to $10,000 for 1 kilogram of totuaba swim bladder. And totuaba prices were higher than cocaine, higher than gold.
Yeah, I've heard they've called it the marine cocaine.
Yeah, the cocaine of the sea, marine cocaine, yeah.
Illegal poachers use gill nets to fish the totuaba, but these nets also catch the vaquita accidentally, and it's been devastating for the porpoise's population. In 2012, things got out of control. That year, Lorenzo's census of the vaquita counted only 30 animals left on the planet.
There was so much money, and then the sad part was I was threatened.
The Mexican-Canadian police were deployed to prohibit poachers from casting any nets into the water, but this provoked the ire of criminals, and Lorenzo became a target.
So the first time I had a call, it said, "Are you Professor Rojas?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You're the one that works with vaquita?" And I said, "Yes." "Well, I'm calling you from Sinaloa cartel."
The Sinaloa cartel is one of the most infamous and brutal drug cartels in Mexico, and they've been linked with totuaba poaching.
And I hung up. I didn't think it was a threat at that point in time. I just thought, they know my name.
But then,
last year, I was in a meeting and a friend came to me and said, "Lorenzo, there's a video."
In the video, criminals threatened to beat Lorenzo to a pulp if he were to return to the area of San Felipe, where he studies the vaquita.
So this is a horrible thing to happen. I never thought it would come back. It would come back in this way. Violent.
And these weren't empty threats.
The other soldier was killed. The head of the police in San Felipe was shot.
However, for Lorenzo and his team, despite the danger, the urgency to save the animal from extinction was at its highest.
Some of us started discussing, Jesus, we should start considering seriously catching vaquitas and put them under human care.
The plan was to use various boats, spotters, and U.S. Navy trained dolphins to find, identify, and corral vaquitas into an ocean pen, where they would be held in captivity. It was a desperate move to save the animal. No one had ever tried to capture a vaquita before. On November 4th, 2017, the team managed to successfully capture one. Another emotional moment for Lorenzo.
That was my first eye-to-eye contact with vaquita. That was impressive. You could see her eyes looking at you, and now I cry a lot, so they said, "Jesus, this is the animal working so long." It's the first time I have a live half a meter from me, just and watching every part of the animal, the eyes, the teeth, the snout, the tail, the colors, oh God. And so they took it to the seabeds, and everything looked like it was perfect. And I remember the voice of one of the vets saying, "You're doing very fine, lady, you're doing fine, she's doing perfect."
Lorenzo told the environment minister the good news.
And I called the minister and told him, "We have one. It looks like we're doing okay." Then I hung up, turned around, and everything had changed completely.
The vaquita they had captured began to swim erratically, stopped breathing, and the veterinarians in charge released it back into the ocean. The animal was not responding, and they began performing CPR that lasted hours. They were unable to save the animal.
Finally, Cynthia Smith, who was the co-director of the program with me, and she turned and said, "I'm so sorry." And we cried like hell, just embracing Cynthia. was horrible.
The program was called off as it seemed that vaquitas don't cope well with human care, and Lorenzo decided to focus efforts on upping the surveillance of poachers. But by this time, this dramatic attempt to save the species had made headlines around the world.
Marima, a small porpoise called the vaquita.
Endangered marine animals.
And the media spotlight on the plight of this once unknown creature, dubbed the little sea cow, has shown the importance of conservation, as Lorenzo found out from a taxi driver.
I know you. And I said, well, probably I took your taxi before. No, I've seen you on TV or in a film or somewhere. And my brother is a TV actor, so I said, no, that's my brother. No. You are the guy protecting the little rooster. I said, what? The little rooster, the gallito, you're protecting the gallito. I said, no, it's vaquita. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's an animal anyway. The good thing is that at least all this work we've been doing to make vaquita, now that they call it the little rooster, seem to have some success.
The vaquita is in extremely dire straits, but Lorenzo says being optimistic is the only outlook he can adopt. He says as long as his hydrophones continue to record the fart-like clicks of the animal, there is still hope for the species.
That was Clayton speaking to Lorenzo Rojas Bracho last year. He is our final BBC Inspirations winner and joins us now on a video link from Ensenada in Mexico. Congratulations, Mr. Vaquita.
Thank you.
Well, I hope this is a nice way to end what's been a difficult year for many people. You say that you have learned to stay optimistic. I guess that would have been helpful this year. It really is.
Yeah, I always say that if you work in conservation biology, you work with threats and animals that are going extinct, so you have to be optimistic. You want to survive doing that. And sad times with the pandemic, but what's been exciting is now we come to realize how beautiful and overwhelming nature is. I've received mails and talked to friends, and what they miss the most is walking in the forest, going out, or swimming in the ocean. I think that's a great thing from this pandemic, and we all realize that we need nature. With all this nature, we will survive.
Have you been able to see the vaquitas this year? Has the pandemic kept you away?
No, not this year, not right now, but we have reports from our observers. They had 2 vaquita sightings last October, so this is very exciting to know that they are still there hanging.
Great news. Are these the fishermen who are helping you out, the monitoring team?
Yeah, one thing I usually say, it's not only vaquita but everywhere, you cannot save vaquita and have fishermen go extinct because of the measures to save vaquitas. We have to work with both, and one of the most exciting part is that fishermen help us with our surveys or removing illegal gill nets from the water. If you look at my mobile phone, I have everyday calls or WhatsApp from fishers in the Upper Gulf discussing where we are, what we can do.
So the fishermen who've been helping you with this project, have you become quite close to them then as people?
Yeah, so I talk to some of them daily, but I also speak to mothers and fathers.
Are you okay?
We lost one friend to COVID.
One of the fishermen?
And I'm in touch with his parents. He used to work for us, so it was a hard moment.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, COVID obviously has wrought its damage this year, but you also have to contend with the drug cartels in that area, and you told us about the threat they pose to you. Are they also a threat to the fishermen when they go out monitoring, or do they leave them alone?
Oh yeah. I mean, there are threats to all our crew, those who are removing gill nets. It's a threat for them, even more for them than to me, because I don't live in the community the full time. When I've left, they tried to burn his truck, things like that. The threats I received, persons have been arrested. Let's see how justice takes its course.
And there is one other piece of good news, which is that you have some evidence that not only are vaquitas still alive, but that they are breeding.
Oh yeah, this is exciting. We always thought vaquitas produce a calf every other year, but it seems they can produce a calf every year. If they produce a calf every year, the population can recover quicker, faster, 8%, probably 9% per year. And it's amazing. It's just so exciting to see the calves and the mothers.
I can see you getting very animated. This is clearly an absolute passion for you, huh?
It is a passion. It is. And since I was a kid, when I was 6 years old, I went to ask for a job in SeaWorld. Of course, I didn't get it. It's a long time in love with the ocean.
And you do a lot of work, I think, with the Center for Marine Biodiversity and Conservation in San Diego. What exactly is it that you do with them?
We did what I would say was one of the most exciting things in our life. We had participants from 9 different countries. It was just the whole process of how important saving species and saving vaquita was. I mean, it was amazing. And that has led us to have another program, Taylor, that has been my partner in crime for many years, to look at conservation for other species in other places all over the world.
Did you mention Barb Taylor?
Oh yeah, she's working 30 years, probably 25 years together.
Well, she's also been with us for the past few minutes listening into our conversation, as indeed has one of your other colleagues from the Centre for Marine Biodiversity and Conservation, Sarah Mesnick. Hello, both of you, joining us now on the video link.
Oh God, this is an excellent.
I would like to speak on behalf of Vaquita. Lorenzo has been giving us voice for many years, and we wouldn't be here without him. But I was a little disappointed to hear that he thinks that our voices sound like farts. But, you know, fortunately I have a translator today.
You've both known Lorenzo for 20 years, I think. What would you say is the most remarkable thing about him? Who wants to speak first?
Sarah.
I've been crying for much of what you've been hearing myself, but the world that we live in today gives you a lot of reason to lose hope. And being around Lorenzo makes me a better person. I think that Lorenzo's ability to speak truth to power, and people use those words lightly, but I've seen Lorenzo on stage in front of hundreds of people. I've seen him in conversation with ministers high up in the government. I've seen him speaking to fishermen. And Lorenzo is able to make connections with people in a way that few other scientists can. Through his ability to connect with people, he brings them together.
What would you add to that, Bob?
I think.
Or I should just say, Lorenzo's blowing you a kiss.
So, I think one of the other really key things beyond what Sarah was saying is the ability to just weather the day in and day out stressful environment of dealing with endangered species and getting through. Now we've worked together for like 27 years of many different Mexican administrations in Mexico City is no mean feat. And there were many years when, you know, I would ask Lorenzo, so who do you work for today? and he couldn't even answer me, you know, but he's managed, I think, through his skills in not only dealing with the local communities and the people in Mexico City, but the international community, and bringing together all of these different people. People don't want to take hard decisions to protect an animal that most people can't even see and hadn't even heard of. And so it's maintaining that passion and transparency and networking through decades that makes Lorenzo a real inspiration.
So that's how Lorenzo works. How does he live?
Oh, wine and mezcal, mainly.
Wine and mezcal. Is that fair enough, Lorenzo?
No, it's Barb and Sarah that keep me going. They have shaped what I am, and I'm crying.
I know that your partner Ileana is there with you. Hi Ileana, joining us now. I believe you have something for Lorenzo. His BBC Inspirations Award. Before you hand it to him, Jorge, could we please have some kind of fanfare? Thank you, and congratulations, Lorenzo. Do take a look at your award.
Oh, well, this is a gorgeous glass globe. It's heavy.
Quite heavy, isn't it?
I'm nervous and I'm shaking.
Many congratulations to you. You are one of our BBC Inspirations winners.
Well, thanks to the BBC for this, and I have to say that Anna and Eugenia are just an example. Anna was able to change many things in Mexico with her courage and the support of her mother, so it's amazing to be with her, and I have to thank Jorge. I love Sones and Guapangos, that's my favorite music, so thanks very much for that.
Can I use this moment to thank Lorenzo for his words? I think it's amazing what you do. I admire you so much, and it's an honor.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much indeed. I should just quickly run through. We've got Lorenzo Rojas Bracho, Ileana Espejel, Sarah Mesnick, and Barbara Taylor. Thank you also very much. You mentioned Anna and Eugenia, her mum, and there's also Anna's friend Alba, who joined us earlier. We've got a whole gang on the video screen now, and I believe that everybody has a glass of something nice to drink with them. So I think we should have a toast to all our 2020 Inspirations winners. You can see video clips of all of them online at bbcworldservice.com/inspirations, but let me give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers. And finally, to play us out, we have Jorge Castillo and the Fandango Fusion Fronteriza. Jorge, I think this is very likely to be your final Fandango of 2020, so what are you going to play for us and why?
Okay, I want to congratulate Lorenzo for all the work he does for nature and for our vaquitas. Congratulations and keep up the good work. Then, con mucho cariño te vamos a dedicar esta canción que se llama El Balajú. El Balajú is a song jarocho that talks about the ocean, the dreams of the